Yo, what's up, guys? Mike Miami here, and today is Christmas, as you may know. So, for a Christmas gift from me, I'm gonna show you how I made my track Ederlezi, which was probably the highest requested song that I could have done a masterclass on. So yeah, let's get into the project. And for those of you who didn't hear the track, you'll have a link in the description below. And yeah, let's dive into the project. So this project started, I think, late last year, so late 2020. And I jumped into the project and made this melody. So this is how everything started. Now usually when I start making a project, I open a piano preset and just try to figure a cool melody out, and yeah, this is what I got when I started playing with it. Yeah, so a really cool and unique melody. When I made it, it instantly popped in my head, like, okay, this has to be something that like has a really like ethnic influence. And for those of you who don't know, Ederlezi is a Gypsy / Romani song that is really like iconic in the Balkans. And I always wanted to make like my own version of it, but if I was going to make my own version of it, I would need to make something that resembles like the sound of Mike Miami, basically. So something that is like festivalish, and if that's even a word, but something that can be played at the festivals. So yeah, when I made that melody, I instantly knew, okay, this is the one. Like in this project, I'm going to make Ederlezi, like the Mike Miami version of it. So yeah, I started with the melody, and yeah, so this was the patch. So I started with this after I made the melody and everything. I started working on the synths, and I knew I wanted something that is like really, really trancey. So I had this. So let me show it for you. Okay, so this is with a gazillion automations. Just let me find the sorry, I can't find the automation. Like this was before I started organizing my projects the way I do now. Okay, so for the synths, I had these 3 synths. So the first is actually a flute. I don't know why I used that. Originally I wanted to have the flute, but then I just started layering more, and yeah, and kept the flute in. You can barely hear it, but it has that ambient layery feeling, so I left it. Then there's this lead, and then there's this. So this is like the main one. And it's pretty mono-ish, but then you can still hear like that it's being like stereo separated. And for the mixer, I used a gross beat to have the gate effect, because I wanted it to be like super choppy, super like chaotic and trancey and whatnot. So yeah, and I also had it on the second sound, and then I routed it to the bus. Now the mixer looks insanely bad right now. As I said, this was before I started like organizing my projects properly. Since yeah, it's pretty important, but I used to work this way, and I still sometimes work like really chaotic like now. But the thing I definitely changed from then is the reverb. So back then I used to like have the reverb on the channel itself on the bus, but now I do I do I route it to a specific like reverb channel, and then I parallelly route everything to that. So yeah, but this technique as well also worked wonders for me, because then the reverb is going through, as you can see, like it's going through the compression and then the distortion, and the reverb then sounded really huge. But that's the old technique I used. So I can also, in a separate video, I can show you the new technique and the proper way to like making your reverb really big. But yeah, but I had that, and yeah, and then I had to find an acapella to use, so I legally downloaded the acapella that I thought like sounded the best from YouTube, of course. And yeah, so this is the vocal. Now I pitched it 3 semitones up, so it it matched the key of my melody. So that's the vocal. I had to chop it a little bit because it was out of tempo, because this was a live recording. So I had to like figure it out, how to like put it on tempo. So I had to chop it. This was the easiest part of chopping. Like, trust me, you'll see the next part. And for the drop, it's pretty much the same vocal, but then I added this like big automation. And this automation, what it does is how do you say it? It opens up, or rather turns on, so many effects. I'll show you. So at first you have this manipulator that just puts it in the right key. Then this one too, and this is the one that that turns on with that automation. It pitches it down 12 semitones and also 12 formants down. Then I have auto tune just to keep it perfectly on pitch. Then another thing that turns on is Camel Crusher with, of course, British Clean preset, which is probably the best preset in this effect. And Camel Crusher. Then the next thing is a bit more reverb. I think this is automated, so don't take this for granted. Then I have OTT, I have Grosbeat to also make it choppy. I have Bit Crush, which also turns on with that automation, and that's the effect that gives it that crispness in the high end, which the original vocal lacked, and then some sidechain. So yeah, this is how it sounds with all those effects. Yeah, it's really nasty and yeah, really big. So the next part I added on top of it was the kick. Now at that period I was obsessed with using Saber samples. I don't use them now because they're pretty overused, but I felt like this kick fitted perfectly with the track. And also, of course, the kick, yeah, I still use it because it's one of the best ways to put like a top kick, but then it's not a top kick, but it sounds like it. And of course this Codex Lightborn kick, if you know their track Lightborn with Enigma, I just love this kick. I still love it, but rarely use it now, but back then I used it quite a lot actually. It's fat, but I EQ'd it a little bit, just to, and also saturate, don't do this ever. I saturated it and compressed it, and then made this EQ just to, to make more room for the Psy basses on top of it. But this was still like the main sub in the track. So it's really fat. Yeah, and then on top of that, I had these Psy basses that I used from Kashmir because I was too lazy to make my own. Back then, I just slapped them in, and it was like, okay, this works, don't touch it. But as you can hear, they have a really weird pattern, and that's because I had another layer on top of it that plays like these offbeats. So the thing I did here is, you know, I made this patch that sounds, you know, a little shitty, but yeah, I wanted it super wide in the stereo field because everything was pretty much in mono, so I needed something that will, you know, fill everything up. And that with the kick. So yeah, it's pretty fat, and you know, if you play it, if you add some white noise, some crowd effects, and the vocal itself. Sorry. And that's pretty much the first part, some fills here, and then some claps, and some more claps. And some riser. That's pretty much it. And then in the second part, what I did is, you know, add some more like shakers, more hi-hats, more percussion basically. This is with the reverb. Okay, so it sounds like this. And I also, what I did is introduce the melody, but then I had like a call and response part of the melody. So it plays this part, and then the vocal comes in, and then the vocal dips down in volume, but the synths come back in. And in the empty part, like where the synth doesn't play, I had automation for the delay to make it bounce, and then keep the vocal in the center, which is a pretty cool effect, I think, in my opinion. And yeah, I did that, so as you can hear, it sounds like this. Just let me do this real quick. Oh, never mind. That's pretty much it for the first drop. It's super simple. Like the main catch is the rhythm, the groove, the fatness of the low end, and pretty much like these effects on the vocal. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Like if you want to make like basically like psy bass, it's usually really simple. Just have a nice groove, have some cool effects playing in the background, some cool fills, and that's pretty much it. Like as it was with this job, but then the second job was, you know, a bit more complicated. Now let's jump to the first break. After the first drop, I made the first break. And it was really basic. I wanted this, you know, to be played at clubs and festivals, and, you know, be as simple as possible, but then, you know, as hard as possible. I wanted it to be fat, but basically I had the vocal. As I played you before, then I had this Reese bass that just, you know, plays the bass notes of the chords. And the chord progression is 1 6 4 6 6 7 1. So it's pretty simple, but then in the super saw break it's a little bit different. Then I had these plucks that sound super trancey, like something that is like from 2000s. Sorry, there's some automations here, but I don't know where they are. Which is really a shame. Never mind. So it's here. Oh, sorry, it's here. And I left sidechain on it, you know, to make more space for the vocal, and also it sounded more bouncy, I guess. But this is with some automations. I'm retarded. And then I had these strings on, which are from Nexus, I think, and yep, and just some EQing to make the space for the vocal and cut some resonances, and that's pretty much it. And also some choirs from Omnisphere, which sound really cool. Yeah, there's not much going on here as well. Some basic EQing, and that's pretty much it, and some, you know, leveling. So combining all of that, it sounds so anthemic. Like it's like you're literally listening to an anthem. Like it's so huge, so wide, so open, and then this vocal comes in, which is like a cherry on top of a cake. It's so massive and so spacey and ambiental. And that's literally it. I had some, you know, downlifters, some claps that are filtering up, opening up, then some impacts, this reverse synth from Kashmir, and that's literally it. That's the whole break, like literally 5 sounds. So super simple stuff. Also the build-up is insanely simple. I won't even show it to you because it's really boring. And then the first drop comes in, and this is the part where I got stuck. After I did this, I couldn't move on with the track. I think it stayed there for like 2 months, and I just couldn't figure it out. And then I just kept pushing myself and, you know, trying to create all of these like cool different breaks, but nothing really sticked, until I just took, you know, opened a instance of Omnisphere, an instance of Omnisphere, and, you know, and pasted the melody with this guitar preset. It's so good. So yeah, after I had that, I just, you know, started pumping in some more sounds, like the choirs and the strings from earlier, then, you know, some claps, same as before, then some war drums, you know, to have this like festival feel to it. Then I had this block, which is also from Omnisphere. And the reason why I'm not showing you the effects is because, like, on every single instance, on every single sound, I only used some EQ. That's literally it, and some delay, and, you know, retro color for the space reverb to push it more back in the mix, and that's literally it. Then I had, I took the vocal and then reversed it and tried to find cool spots to chop in and, you know, make it more ambient. I just love that. Yeah, it sounds really cool. You can't really hear it, but it's there, you know, it's in the mix, and it's really, really far back, but it just creates this super cool ambience, which I thought sounded really cool. And then in the next part, I had, you know, only these hi-hats from the drop that are playing like left to right panning. That's literally it. And then the main part of the break comes in, the super sub break, which is one of the you know, most interesting like breakdowns I ever did. And it's because I have, you know, all of these, like, I'm gonna show you the melody. I have all of these like small choppy notes, and then they glide on each other, and you know, it just sounds really cool in my opinion. So if I solo it, and the note at the end is long because I had a gross beat, the Mike Miami effect on it. So yeah, if I only had 3 layers. I had this, the main one, and then this one and this one. That's literally it. And then the other one, plays the harmonies, I think. Yeah, plays the harmonies in certain parts. Yeah, so yeah, if I play it all together, all the leads. So yeah, it sounds really fat, really cool, and then, same mixer chain. This is the Holy Mike Miami chain, with slight modifications. Yeah, that's literally it. And then here I had, some delay, but it's automated in certain parts, and that's literally it. After that, I added this bass, which I made myself, I think. Yeah, and then I had these chords. Yep, and some claps, some cashmere drop claps, and again a downlifter, some more claps. The strings from Nexus, they sound awful. That's literally it. If you play it, and here's this effect that I love to use. And yeah. The main thing that is going throughout the whole track is the melody, and the melody is the most important part here, because everything is so simple. I only use a few sounds and at times, and some cool effects, some percussion, and that's literally it. Sometimes you shouldn't overcomplicate and do all of these crazy effects to the track, and and crazy automations, and sometimes it sounds cool, and I do it also. But sometimes if you're doing a track like this that is supposed to be super heavy and super easy to follow, then you should just keep it really simple. And if you have a catchy vocal or a catchy melody, just stick to it, and it's gonna do wonders. Trust me. And for the mixing, EQing, try to process your reverb good, and leveling. And that's it. Don't go crazy on effects. You're gonna ruin if you have a good sound, and then just start stacking effects on top of each other, but you don't know what you're doing in essence. You're gonna ruin the sound, and then eventually ruin the mix. So don't do that. Just keep it simple, and then if you really know what you're doing, okay, then you can try to to make these sound design techniques with all of the different effects. So yeah, but I only use EQ in mixing regards, and rarely in shaping the sound to to sound like something I would sound design. So I hope that makes sense. But basically in the next part I have the chorus part of the vocal, and that was the hardest part, because look at these chops. I was working on this for 10 hours. It's disgusting. I tried so many variations, and this was the best one. I just couldn't figure it out. But yeah, I think it sounds okay. It still could have sounded better, but yeah, here's the vocal. Oh, sorry, there's a reverb. And if you can hear in the background like those bit crushing something things that you can hear in the vocal, when you play everything together they disappear for some reason. I don't know, it's probably due to some automation that I can't find right now, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, this was like the main like part of the track where people that do know the song sing along. And it's preparing you for the biggest part of the track, which is the second drop, like the main climax part. And yeah, after I release this track, it's, you know, my main goal is to satisfy my, you know, my local audience, like here in Serbia and stuff. And it actually, you know, got played in clubs in my hometown, and also like got huge support here, which is really cool, because, you know, that was the main purpose of the track, you know, to fulfill the gap for these kind of tracks and clubs and festivals. And yeah, so I had that. There's some like some how do I say it, some snares, some claps, the same old choirs and strings that are going throughout the whole track, and some effects, and that's it, and the raise bass, of course. And then for the build up, I'm gonna skip that part, and then we come to the second drop. Now the second drop was the part I did the most, like I spent the most time on, because I knew I wanted something that resembles like a big room trance track, but then at the same time I wasn't sure what, because everything that I would come up was really generic and really boring, and since the track itself was like really unique and really sticking out, I wanted to, you know, to make something unique for it as well. So this wasn't like the most unique idea ever, but it's certainly really cool. And it isn't too repetitive, but you can constantly hear the same sounds being played, but in a different way, which is a good thing. So, yeah, I started with this first part. So it went like this. Sorry. After the automations, of course, and stuff. So I had that, and I was really satisfied with that part. In terms of layers, this was the main layer, and then these come in. So really aggressive, really, you know, wide and huge. And then the second sound comes in, which was honestly a accident. I didn't plan to do it like this, but then I accidentally made like a pitch automation and then started messing with it, and it came out like this. But the funny thing here is that I accidentally pressed here when you right click on this like little point, you can choose the different mode of, you know, of the wave for the automation. So I chose pulse, and then I adjusted it and actually made it like it goes from an octave up to octave down really fast. And that was, you know, that was so cool when I accidentally made it, that I had to like leave it on track, and then everything, you know, was working around it, like it goes up. And then it was getting really boring since it was repeating throughout the whole track. I needed to, you know, figure out a way to make it a bit more unique in every single part of the drop. So I just added an effector. Now I'm gonna show you that I added an effector, chose the phaser, and then just messed with, you know, with different values here. And then in every other part, like the super saw change, the super saw like chord stabs change. So yeah, I had that. And then also does the rhythm change? No, the rhythm of the second sound stays the same. And then here I have a cool fill with the vocals. The same kick as before, everything is the same, only the top sounds are different, which I just showed you. And then in certain parts I added like this offbeat, sorry, not that, this like Mike Miami acid stab. Like this stab, I literally use it in every single track probably. So yeah, I also did it here. I also used it in countless tracks like The Hand of God, Remedy, as you could previously hear. So it was just there, you know, to fill it up even more. And in the background you have all of these like all of these vocals that just, you know, play super far back and in the background in the stereo field, and just fill up the space even more. And then in the last part I just switch the not there, here. So here, you know, it's ending, it's, you know, it's really like really intense. And the track ends there. So in essence, this is a really simple track. Like the project looks really like chaotic and really messy and really big, but in essence it's super simple. If you can count like how many different sounds I had here, like different synths, it's probably, the number is like really low, probably like 15 or something like that, with all the layering and everything. So yeah, just like one of the biggest tips I can give you is just keep it simple. Like try to build everything from the ground up, sounding really simple. And then if you feel like it sounds like super boring, then add like some cool fills, some more sounds on top of it, but keep the essential parts of the track really simple. Because if I made the melody like even more complex and choppy, and you know, and added like 20 different sounds to one single melody, you couldn't follow along easily. And that's why like this track is super special for me, because this was one of the most unique process of my entire producing career. Like every single thing I did here was really like, you know, I really thought about it and really, you know, knew what I was going to do with the track at some point. And yeah, so that's the story of Ederlezi. I waited like since 6 months for it to come out, back at the beginning of the year, and also it was premiered by Catherine Pollux on their New York live stream, and that's how I met the guys, and then we, you know, started working on other tracks, but yeah, that's pretty much the whole story. So yeah, this is gonna wrap it up. I wish you guys a Merry Christmas, a wonderful holiday season, and I have some more presents coming for you really soon. So stick around, and I'll catch you guys next time.